Hello and welcome to Nuts and Bolts. Fantastic to have you here. Remember, before I start this session, which is a really great session, I'm excited to share this with you today. Remember, if you've got any issues, concerns, worries, problems, and you're looking for a solution, ask at teamleadertoolkit.com. Make sure you contact us on ask@teamleadertoolkit.com, and we will put some videos together and we'll be able to send them your way. Okay, and hopefully that will help you come up with some kind of solution. So before we start, just to let you know that we've got a great session on next week, so don't miss next week's. It's all about what to do with the elephant in the room, so that's a really good one. But what are we talking about this week? Okay, so we are talking about how to avoid mutiny when you're taking on a new team. And there could be a number of reasons why you might have mutiny. Okay, so let's just paint the scenario here. You have been working really hard. You've been recognized for your hard work. You've been working for the company for a while. You've been aspiring to a career progression, and they're finally giving you a job that you think would be fantastic for you, which is leading this new team. Now, what happens? So, number one, what usually happens is if the previous leader of that team was just fantastic, brilliant, got on with everybody, there's big shoes to fill with regards to relationship building. The other thing that can happen is that the opposite could happen is if the previous boss didn't get on with anybody and really struggled and all that sort of stuff, then this new team has got high expectations of you because they've had all this crap before and now they want it to all change and they're looking at you as their savior. So that could be the other side. So that puts sort of a different set of pressures that you might have on. So also, what happens is if there has been a team where there's been lots of different bosses, come through, go, come through, go, come through, go, then their team is going to be exhausted because every time a new boss has come in, they want to, change the world and they put this change in and that new process in and everything else. And so that team might be absolutely exhausted and weary and just switched off and disengaged. So that's another issue that you might be taking on board. So just be aware that might be some issues that you've got to think about when taking over a new team. So what are the things that you've got to do? You've got this great role. There could be a number of reasons why the team are going, oh, we don't know about this. Number one, we had a great boss before. Number two, we had a crap boss before. Now, what are they going to do? Or number three, we've had 17 bosses in the last 12 months. What's new is going to happen? So you're going to have a little bit of behavior issues, maybe disengagement, or luckily you won't have any of these. But if you do, what do you do? So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to give yourself at least 100 days. I want you to listen, to learn, to talk to your people, to get their insights, to work out who's who in the zoo, who are your major stakeholders, who are the people you have to have in your corner, what's happening now, what's working, what's not, all of that sort of stuff. Give yourself 100 days before you're bringing in any new change. I know that you're in a new role and I know people are watching you and I know that you feel like you've got to build your empire, but I'm telling you, give yourself 100 days. Listen, learn, build relationships with your team, learn who your stakeholders are, what's working currently and working really well, what's not working. All those sorts of things are really, really important for you to understand before you start coming in changing things, I say. So this is where you're going to find out who the real influencers are. And people with influence don't have to have a position title. You can have people on your team and one person can have a really huge impact on the team, but they're just a team member, the same as everybody else. So you need to work all this out, okay? Who's the big influencers? Who are the stakeholders? Who's going to make a difference? Who do you have to have in your corner? All those sorts of things are going to set you up for success moving forward. So 100 days, give yourself 100 days. The second thing that I want you to do is find out what really matters, okay? So you can do a mini culture survey or whatever to really find out what matters in that particular department. So what is the bottom line? What are people passionate about? What are the things that you've got to really take into account when taking over this team? What's important to keep in place? What are they things that they want changed? All that sort of stuff is going to be really important. So find out what matters, and you can do that in your one-on-ones. And it's not just your team members. You're going to talk to peers as well. You're going to talk to your team members one-on-one and try and get all this information. You're going to talk to your peers one-on-one, getting information from them. And it's just you seeking to understand. So you're going to have lots and lots of questions. What's happened in the past? What's worked? What hasn't worked? What people are really passionate about? What's our bottom line here? What's important? What's not important? Those things you want to really, really seek to understand. And obviously you're going to get that from your boss as well. So if you're in the Unlocking Portal, if you're doing the Team Leader Toolkit program, then you would have already had that expectations chat with your manager. It's in, I think, module 2. So really, really important that we get those. In fact, I think it's in module 1, right at the beginning. All right, so first one we're going to do is give yourself 100 days to really seek to understand what's going on. Number 2, find out what matters, and that's in one-on-ones with your team members, one-on-ones with your peers, and one-on-one with your bosses, and maybe your previous bosses as well. Number 3, invite them to play. So what do I mean by this? So these are ones that we're inviting them to be part of building what's going on. So if you've done your 100 days, if you sought to understand, if you've got a really good foundation of what's going on, what's working, what's not, the things that are working, you pull your team together and go, hey guys, this is working really well. Is everyone happy with the way it is? Because from what I've seen in the short time that I've been here, I don't think that needs to change. What are your thoughts? If something is not working well and everyone agrees it's not working well, say, hey guys, this is really, really important. We've got to get this working better. We've got to get the time down in this changeover or whatever it may be. So, what are your insights? What are your thoughts? What's worked before in the past? What hasn't? What direction do you reckon we should go on this? Ultimately, you've got the bottom line and you're going to have the decision to make going forward. But if they have a say in that decision, if they have some input, if they get some skin in the game, then it's going to be a whole change process that's going to take a lot less time and be a lot easier to change, rather than you dragging people along behind you. Okay, so invite these people to get involved, to get part of it, to get skin in the game, to get some engagement. And the other thing is I want you to consider how you're talking about the team to other people. So the other thing is watching your intentions. So this is number 4, watching your intentions. So how do you describe the new team and the new team members to others? Are you full of criticism because they might have given you a hard time when you first got there? Because they've had 17 bosses, or because the last one was so great or so crap, whatever it may be. So it's one of those things where you have to build your resilience in this case and know that you're going to cop a bit of backlash. It's okay. You can handle that. You can carry that. It's not against you. It's against the situations they've had in the past. Okay, so just know that you can move it away from absorbing it into you personally and just put it in a box somewhere else and say that's their reactions because of the experiences they've had in the past. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you've got your team's back. So if you're talking to a peer, or you're talking to your boss, or you're talking to someone else, and you're criticizing and telling them, oh, geez, they never do anything, and they're this and they're that, that is going to get back to your team. That is absolutely going to get back to your team. So you need to make sure that you're not doing that. Yes, you can say, we've got some struggles at the moment that we're working through, and I'm hoping that we'll move to a really positive result soon. Something like that, if things aren't right, because you don't want to go, yeah, everything's perfect, and you're having a really internal struggle. Okay, so we need to be authentic, but we can't be outright criticizing our team members, and we need to turn them around. That's our job. So if they're disengaged, if they're not feeling happy, if there's low morale, then it's up to us as that leader then to turn that around. And highlighting them and criticizing them in other company is not going to help. Okay, so that's something that we need to really, really be mindful of. We need to lead with respect, and that takes courage. So hopefully you're up for the job. I'm sure you will be. All right, so let's just quickly go with that again. Remember, there's lots of reasons why there might be a bit of a mutiny with this new team that you're taking on. It could be they had a really great boss before, so you've got big shoes to fill. It might be they had a really crap boss before. It might be they've had 17 bosses in the last 12 months. Any of those are going to bring up some mixed feelings from your team. and probably fill you with a bit of anxiety as well. So you need to manage those emotions and just give yourself time. Remember, 100 days before you make any changes. Give yourself 100 days. Number 2, find out what matters, what's working, what's not working, what is people passionate about, all that sort of stuff. Invite them to be part of it. Collaborate as much as you possibly can, and make sure you're not backstabbing the team behind their back, because as much as you want to vent and all that sort of stuff, and I think there is appropriate places to do that, and that might be at home or it might be with somebody who's totally removed, but don't do it in the workplace, because it will get back to them and it'll come out in your body language anyway, that your frustrations and things. You've got to work out how we're going to deal with those. And obviously we're going to make sure that we lead with respect. So that's going to be really, really important to build those relationships up and make it really, really good moving forward. So I hope that helped. I hope that helped anybody who's taking on a new team. Hopefully you won't have a total mutiny, but you might have little pockets of mutiny that you've got to sort out. So good luck with it. I hope everything works out. And until next time, remember, stay on for next time. We've got a good one coming up. Okay, next Thursday, we'll see you then. Cheers. Bye.